people, I'm back to doing Juke stuff. I know you hate the fact that I've been doing Nissan Z stuff. None of you are watching it. So here we go. This guy came up here from Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago. He's complaining of oil consumption and there was something else I forget, but he wanted me to just do a health check on the car because he was interested in putting a big turbo on it. It's got 180,000 miles on the original engine, which is mind-blowing, right, Jason? It's a manual transmission. That's the only way that it lived that long. But we did a compression test on it, and cylinder 3 is down 50, 60 PSI. It smokes when you start it. It's kaput. So we're putting a new engine in it. As much as I'd love to be putting an A8 in there, we are just putting another Juke engine in there. So what I'm gonna do is, I've got plenty of videos taking these engines out, so I'm gonna just crank this one out of the car on a time lapse, and then the engine we're putting in is over here. We got a killer deal on this thing. It doesn't have a lot of miles on it. Came with the turbo. It's in fantastic shape. There's like no corrosion on anything, no leaks. So that's what's going in there. But what I'm doing for this gentleman, and he doesn't know this, and Jason doesn't even know I'm doing this, I have a box of used Juke performance parts upstairs, and we're gonna set this dude up. We're gonna get him every part that I can put on there and get this dude set up. His DRLs, one of them doesn't work because the control module is dead. I have DRL control modules up there. I usually sell them for like 500 bucks, but we're gonna get his DRLs back up and running. Because I feel this dude, they bought this car in October and the engine basically crapped out last month. So I feel bad, so I wanna help the guy out. Something else he doesn't know we're doing is I'm gonna tune this car. Has no idea I'm doing it. I've got up rev license on one of my cables. I've had it there for a while. You know, it's a decent amount of money, but I'm getting paid to do this engine job. Want to get back to him. So we're gonna tune this thing. Nothing crazy. It's a stock turbo with cap. So we're not doing anything outlandish, but just a little oomph for him so he gets, you know, more money worth out of this whole process. We're gonna do a new clutch. We're just putting an AMS clutch in it, so a stock replacement clutch, which will hold plenty. We're replacing his alternator because his alternator is chirping and it's junk. It's an aftermarket AC Delco one. I tell all you guys, don't run the aftermarket alternators on these. They don't last. So we've got a beautiful brand new OEM Nissan one here. Costs an arm and a leg. But that's the plan. So we're gonna take this thing apart. Hopefully we don't run into other major issues. Once I get this apart, we'll go through the used parts bin and see what we're gonna be putting on here. Always also have me do a feed line and a MAC valve. Just because that solenoid is bad. It's overboosting and, you know, feed lines suck. So this gentleman knows this, but this has had something related to the transmission or the engine out before. These were cut. This is broken off, which you just saw it collapse in my fingers. But this has been out before. See, that clip right there is cut. I am not the first person to be in here, and I don't know if this gentleman knows that. Yeah, definitely been out. You can see these were cut already. You got tool marks on the sides of these bolts. So this definitely had a clutch put in it at one point because there's no tool marks on the engine mounts. You can see there's nothing. These look brand new, like they've been put on from the factory. So it's definitely had a clutch though. All right, so engine is pretty much ready to come out. Just sent the customer an update. I got to get the engine mounts off, training mount unbolted, obviously. We've got the fluids draining out, gear oil, engine oil, coolant. It ends up taking forever to get coolant out of these things. I don't know why. When we do this, AC doesn't come out. We don't drain it, nothing. We'll just undo the 3 bolts holding it to the engine and swing it out of the way. And then this can swing out of the way. Saves the customer a ton of money. So we have that to do. The axles are ready to come out. Just waiting for the gear oil to finish draining. And then it's lower torque mount and unbolt the exhaust. And it's ready to come out. Everything else up top is pretty much removed and disconnected, the wiring and everything. So these are pretty standard. Jason went home. We were bleeding the clutch on this in the cooling system. He's gonna come back later and we're gonna put this thing on the dyno for some just low load pulls, just engine braking kind of stuff. And the reason we do that is like we found a oil leak here, but you know, different video. So While I'm waiting for the coolant to drain out of this, we're gonna go upstairs and look through our bucket of goodies to put on this thing. Now, his intercooler, when I took it off, it's up in the back of the car, so I can't get to it right now. When I took it off, it was rough. That thing is beat. Like, it kind of looks like the bottom of this AC condenser, but like beat. So I have a replacement intercooler for this laying around, but we're not gonna put an OEM one back in. We're gonna surprise him with an upgraded one. Intakes, he's got a stock intake on it. He even had the muffler thing still in there. I have cold air intakes. I hate them. There's a reason I have so many of them, because we take them off cars so often. But I think I might modify one of the cold air intakes and make it into a short ram and give that to him, because, you know, who doesn't like that? I don't know if I have any diverter valves laying around. I'm gonna check. The exhaust, we're replacing the exhaust on this because it's rotted out. You can see that that is broken, and back here has a botched repair on it. And the muffler's falling apart. I have a Nismo RS catback, which we already told him was gonna get put on this thing. We're gonna put that on, and then for the second cat pipe, we're gonna do a stainless steel one. And do that. But yeah, this thing's coming along pretty quick. All right, here's my box of used Juke performance parts. I have more stuff in my storage shed, but so like I said, got cold air intakes coming out the wazoo. So that one, which is AM. We have this InGen one, which is basically the same thing. We have the DRL control modules and DRLs. We have to throw 12 volts to them and see if they still work. We don't need that. This is the intercooler we're going to put on it. So this is a Forge intercooler, an actual, Forge intercooler. I'm not a fan of these for making power, but anything's better than stock. So this right here is going to be the intercooler we swap it out with. So we're going to put that on there, and then I do have a Turbo Smart, so I have a diverter valve upgrade for that too. We'll toss that on there as a little surprise. What else we got? So we need this for the cold air intake. I always forget that I have that V-port valve. So yeah, intercooler, we'll modify one of the intakes. I'm thinking we're going to modify the AEM one. Diverter valve, I think that's a good little starter package. This right here is one of the Turbo Smart wastegate upgrades, which is a giant waste of money on a stock turbo car. These hard pipes you see in here don't fit great, so we're not doing that. Oh, I also have a used upper torque mount insert. I can toss that in there too. All right, so we've got some good stuff for him. So the reason I'm doing this is because this is costing him a lot of money. Between the engine, the labor, all the other miscellaneous stuff, this is I think it was like $5,600 job. And I don't make a lot of money in labor on that, but it's just like, I have to make a living. And I just feel bad because, again, they bought this in October. So they bought it like 6 months ago, and the engine's junk. I just feel really bad because the guy had high hopes of doing a build on it and big turbo and all that stuff, and instead we're replacing an engine, which sucks. So I want to at least get the guy something so that he's not like aggravated with having to go through this with the car, and he can enjoy it a little bit. And this is a step in the right direction of doing stuff, because like a short rim intake we can reuse for the big turbo kit. If he wants to save some money, we can use the Forge one, but we just have to be a little more conservative on our timing stuff. Upgraded divert valve, you have to do that anyway. So, and this has all just been sitting here. I've had a lot of it up for sale on Juke forums for like a year, and nobody's buying anything. So I may as well get some good use out of it and put it on somebody's car. The job I don't like, delivering more bad news. That AC compressor is trash. Let's see if we got debris stuck in it. The belt looks worn down on that rib. That would be hitting that rock. Oh boy. I forgot his radiator fan assembly is also pretty kaput. We're gonna be replacing that for him. I have many of those spare ones laying around. I'm just gonna give him one. Okay, the engine is basically ready to come out. It's got 2 bolts holding it in over here, and a couple of threads holding that up. Everything's disconnected, and it's ready to come out. The axles, I should say this axle, which usually the carrier bearings get stuck, came right out, and there was a lot of grease around the heat shield that goes around that, which tells me not only was the transmission out, but very recently it had the axles done, which makes sense because there's an axle seal leak on the transmission. So when they stabbed in the axle, they probably damaged the seal. So that's that. But you'll notice that, you know, nothing in the back is taken apart. This downpipe we can take off when we take the engine out. It's the easiest way to do it. We can get everything out of the car with the downpipe still in it. So, you know, why give yourself more work? But that's where we're at. All right, old engine's out. So what we gotta do is put the engine side by side. And we gotta strip the harness off this one, strip that one down of everything, and then start swapping stuff. I do unfortunately have to call the customer again. When the clutch line was coming off, Nissan uses these little clips, and this car is very rusty. And that clip, there's nothing left of it. I'm surprised it was even holding on. Unfortunately, you can't get the clip. You have to buy the whole line. So that's fun. All right, so you see all that fuzziness on that starter? That is all clutch material. That's fun. I just pulled the transmission off, and we were planning on replacing the clutch, assuming this had a factory flywheel on it, and it doesn't, as you can tell. It's a solid mass conversion. And it has been replaced fairly recently, but look at all the material that fell off when I took it out. That's all clutch disc. And if we look at the clutch disc itself, it's cooked. It's got tons of material. It's cooked. So when they put this on, they either didn't do the break-in, or they just beat the snot out of it, or just rode the brakes. But it is fried. Like the springs are even broken. So if I wiggle it, and then you can see how hot the clutch cover got. It's blue. Flywheels like that too. So unfortunately, now we have to get a whole clutch and flywheel kit. That's awesome. And I called, this ended up being an Exetti clutch. I actually called Exetti and I said, hey, can we get just the disc and cover? And they don't have the discs. They're on a 180-day back order. They can give me a cover, but no disc. So that doesn't help any. But that right there explains why the clutch pedal was grabbing so high. It's not that it didn't have enough material, but everything is so hot that I'm betting these fingers are not either springing the way they're supposed to, or they've moved, or something, but that's why the clutch pedal is grabbing so high. This thing is fried. I haven't seen one this bad since we, you know, put 500 foot-pounds of torque through a clutch that wasn't designed for it. I had planned on this video just being one video, get the whole engine swap done, but because of the issue we ran into with the clutch, it's kind of been put on hold until Tuesday. So that's 4 days from now, 5 days, 4 or 5 days from now. So this kind of has to get put on hold. We're waiting for an Exetti clutch system to come in, which is like the only option on the market right now outside of Clutch Masters that doesn't use a dual mass flywheel. It doesn't cost a fortune. I think it's like $600 or $650, something like that. But fun fact, right now, there's only 3 left in the country. So if you think you're gonna need an OEM clutch replacement, you're gonna need to get that soon. Spoke to Exetti, and like I said previously in this video, the discs aren't available. So they're out of clutch kits for these, the Versa, Sentra, they're just out of them. So the only way you can get them right now is through somebody who sells through a company called Turn 14, you know, which is most aftermarket performance people. That's who we use to get a lot of our stuff. They sell name brand stuff, Turbo Smart, InGen, thousands of brands. But I honestly might buy the remaining stock of them because they're saying it's going to be 6 months maybe until they start getting kits back out again. I even checked on Rock Auto because Rock Auto lists them And I even placed an order on Rock Auto to see if I would get it, because according to Exetti, they didn't have any. And sure enough, I got an email and a phone call from Rock Auto like 20 minutes later saying that their inventory was wrong. So yeah, I might pick up those last clutch kits to have them on hand, because unfortunately it's $1,100 for a dual mass flywheel from Nissan. And then the cheapest aftermarket dual mass flywheel is $900. And you still don't have a clutch at that point. So, but that's where this video is going to end off. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, because we ran into a lot more issues than I thought we were going to. So in the next video, we're going to start putting this thing back together, put the aftermarket stuff on it, get it back running. It's just, unfortunately, this is just part of doing this kind of work. Stuff gets slowed down. Had supposed to do some control arms on another Juke today, and the control arm kit that came in didn't come with the pinch bolts, so that got delayed. This is just part of it. So this is why we tell people, you know, if you need work done in your car, always plan for it to be down longer than you expect, because stuff does come up that slows the process down a lot. So, see you guys in the next one.
Like and subscribe.